So, today we're going to talk about American women versus Filipino women. Now, I'm from the US. I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in New York. Most of the women I dated are American, even if they're white, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, black. It doesn't matter. An American woman is an American woman, is a woman who holds American values, right? Who holds the American way of life, the American traditions, and the American customs, right? And so I want to compare these women from the US, to women in the Philippines who carry Filipino customs, Filipino ways, and who are Filipino, right? And this does not include Filipino women who were born in the US, unless they continue their Filipino traditions and customs passed down to them by their parents. But unfortunately, people who are born in the US or raised in the US from childhood tend to adapt the US customs. Now, I'm not talking about the American Constitution or the American freedom or American jobs or American politics, right? I'm talking about a certain way of life. For example, this is an American woman compared to a Filipino woman, right? And I can only speak about what I know, and that's American women, including women who are Puerto Rican like I am, born and raised or raised in the US, who tend to lose their customs, their traditions, their womanhood, their femininity, right? They continue to be women. They continue to dress like women, but they give up the traits that help them continue or be involved in a relationship with a traditional man, right? Now, when I say a traditional man, I mean a man who works and who pays the bills and who knows that his job is to take care of the family, to make sure the woman has everything she needs, to make sure the rent is paid, the electricity, the cable, the internet, that the children have everything. And it's his job to ensure that, right? And that's his position. That's the role he plays. And the woman whose role it is to make sure that she raises the children, not the nanny, not the babysitter, not the neighbor, not daycare, but the woman who gave birth to that child. It's her job to raise that child so that that child can grow up the way the father and the mother wants that child to grow up. Not the way the babysitter wants it to grow up, the nanny, the daycare, or the neighbor, but the parents, right? And that is something that the American woman has given up. She has sacrificed her womanhood for her livelihood. She has sacrificed her motherhood for her livelihood. She has sacrificed her womanhood for sexuality, for the freedom to roam and to do what she wants with her body, because in America, a woman is taught that she can do what she wants and that no man can tell her what to do with her body. Yet, they want a man who makes $500,000 a year or more to take care of her and to do for her what she won't do for him. She wants a man to pay her bills, to pay her rent, to take care of her 3 or 4 children that she's had from 3 or 4 different men, yet she wants a man who makes $500,000 and who's willing to do for her what she can't do for him. And what is it that she can't do for him? She can't be a woman for him. She can't make him a sandwich because that's not her job. It's not her job. And so because it's not her job to make her man a sandwich, why is it the man's job to pay her rent? To pay for her children who aren't even his? And see, that's the problem with the brainwashing that American women have gotten. They've been played. This is why the majority of American women are fat, ugly, and bent out of shape, with fake nails, fake eyelashes, fake hair, fake everything, but they want a real man. And when you wake up in the morning with her, she's not the same woman you went to bed with the night before. Because she's got to take off the wig or the weave that she's had on for 7 days that smells like a dog. She's got to remove those eyelashes, those fake fingernails, and all that makeup she piles onto her face. And she's got to drop 40, 50 pounds. But her standards are much higher than what she's worth. And that's the problem with American women, that they're delusional. They want more than they can offer. And that's not to say that women from other countries aren't fat or ugly, if you want to call it that. I would never call a woman ugly. I don't believe women are ugly. I don't believe men are ugly. Everybody has a taste, and there's someone for everybody. But when you're a woman, especially an American woman, and you don't carry yourself like a lady, you don't carry yourself like a wife, but you want a man who's willing to treat you like a wife, but you're not wife material, it's no wonder why you can't find a man. I'm sure you can find a man. The difference is, can you hold a man? Because the majority of American women jump from man to man to man to man to man. The majority of American women have been with at least 6 men or more. 6 men or more. Come here to the Philippines and meet a Filipino woman. The odds are that if you meet a woman over 30, she's going to be married, even if she's separated. Because unfortunately, most men don't stay with their wives here in the Philippines. But usually when a woman is separated from her husband, the last man that she was with was her husband. That's not to say that they're not somewhat similar to American women, but there's a huge difference. A huge difference. And so Filipino women, they carry themselves like women, like ladies. You see, the majority of Filipino women that I've dated all have a college degree, all have a good paying job. They pay their own rent, their own bills, they take care of their children, and they don't need a man because they can carry the weight of the finances by themselves. The difference between a Filipino woman who doesn't need a man compared to an American woman who doesn't need a man is that they say they don't need a man, but they want a man that can take care of them when they're not willing to offer themselves to that man. And a Filipino woman who doesn't need a man doesn't say she doesn't need a man. See the difference? They don't need a man because they do what a man doesn't do for them here. But just because the man doesn't do it doesn't mean they don't need a man to be there for them, to be there with them, to be their strength, their support system. The energy they need to keep them going through the day, because everybody needs somebody. I need a man. I need my brother when I have to carry the heavy-ass couch from one room to the other. I need a man to help me carry that couch. When I need a mechanic, I need a man. When I need a fireman, when I need the police. Unfortunately, American women don't need men in general. That's the problem. That's the problem with American women. They're so delusional and they wonder why they're alone. They have no respect for themselves and they have no respect for the man they're with. They can be married, and while they're married, they're sleeping with the neighbor. They're sleeping with the guy's brother, his cousin, his best friend. They have no morals. And I'm not saying that there aren't women like that everywhere in the world, because there is. But I've never, in all my life, and I can only speak for American women, from the time I was a boy to the time that I'm a man now, because when I was a boy, women had a place and a role to play in the household. My mother, a perfect example. She was with the same man for many years, and when he wasn't around, if men came to the house, they sat in the living room and they had the conversation in the living room. We didn't have to not be in the house. We didn't have to, or my mother didn't have to hide from us, because she was a lady. She behaved like a lady. No one could say, oh, look, Matilda has a man in her house. Because even if she did have a man in the house, that man was sitting in the living room. The front door to the house was open. Anyone could see what's going on inside. Because she carried herself a certain way. And so I can count the amount of men that my mother was with from the time I was born up until the time she died. I can count them in one hand, maybe on 3 fingers. And that's because women had a place. Women knew how to be. They knew how to act. They knew how to be ladies. And unfortunately, the American woman believes that being independent means being disrespectful to her husband, to her boyfriend, to herself most of all. Because being independent means you can sleep with whoever you want as many times as you want, because there's an abortion clinic right across the street from her. And even if she has unprotected sex, it really doesn't matter, because she can have as many abortions as she likes. And that's the difference between the American woman and the Filipino woman. The Filipino woman works like the majority of Filipino women I've dated. Not the majority, but all of the Filipino women that I've dated, who have worked, who have a college degree, and every time they came home to me, who doesn't work because I don't have to, I'm retired, and cook, clean, took care of me, and did everything she had to do for me. Why? Because even though I don't have to work and I'm sitting at home doing nothing but watching Netflix, I paid the bills. I paid the rent. I paid the electricity. I paid the mortgage. I paid to remodel the house. I make sure that she has something for her future, and that when I'm no longer here, her children will have something for their future. Not my children, her children. Because my children cannot own land here. So I can't pass down the investment that I'm doing. I can't pass it down to my children. I have to pass it down to her children. And because she understands that I'm putting this energy into her, she puts her energy into me. And that's the problem with the American woman. She wants a man to put the energy into her, while she puts her energy into the neighbor, her friends, the club, the hanging out, the I don't cook for nobody. I'm an independent woman. Make your own sandwich. I work too. See, they want a man, but they don't want to treat him like a man. They want a man, but they don't want to be a woman to that man. And that's the problem with the American woman today. And when you watch videos of American women who are angry at American men who leave the country and come to the Philippines because they're meeting women who take care of them, who make them feel good, who make them feel special, who make them feel wanted, who make them feel handsome. When they see these women catering to the American men, they say, oh, they're doing that because you pay their bills. They're doing that because all they want is your money. What do you want, if not the same thing? Why do American women or any woman get with a man if not for support? Well, American women just want the dick. American women just want to have someone to sleep with. That's all they want. So when they see that American men are leaving the country to get with women who want them, be it for the money, be it for the support, be it for whatever, the point is that they give just as much as they take. But American women want the man so they could roll over on top of him, use him, roll back over, go to sleep, go to work, come back home, and when the man does the same, go to work, pay the bills and come home, she's at home doing her nails. She can't make him a sandwich. I have a cooked meal here every day. I have a cooked meal every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Before my woman goes to work, my Filipino woman goes to work, she makes sure that she cooks before she leaves. She doesn't have to. I don't ask her to do that. I don't ask her to cook. She does it because that's the role that she was meant to play. She was meant to play that role, just like I was meant to play the role of the man who takes care of the bills. And American women have forgotten that. They just want to use a man. They think that what they got between their legs is worth his time, his money, his heartache, his sadness, his sorrow, his emptiness, his loneliness, him feeling useless with her because what she has to offer is between her thighs, as if though he can't pay for that and not deal with the nonsense or the hassle that she comes with. As if though her 30, 40, 50-year-old cookies are any better than the 40, 50, 60-year-old cookies from the neighbor. And that's the problem, that American women want to use what's between their legs to trap a man, to keep a man, and they think that that's special, as if though other women don't have the same thing. Not only have the cookies, but have the decency, have the lady-like style, the womanly style, and the sense to make her man a sandwich. And then when she goes to bed, give him the cookies too. And that's what's here in the Philippines. And that's why American women are competing against are women who are independent, who work, who have a college degree, who cook and clean, who maintain the home and take care of their man, because yes, their man takes care of them. Their man takes care of the bills. You see, women in America is this. This is your problem. When you want a man to do that for you, to pay your bills, because that's what you want. This is why you want a man who makes $500,000 or more. Right? It's for the money. You don't want a plumber. You don't want a mechanic. Hell, you don't even want a police officer or a fireman. Then you want to talk smack when these people leave the country after they've earned their pensions and come to the Philippines and do for women what men want to do for you back home, but you don't want that because he's not good enough for you. He don't make enough for you. So when he does it for another woman here in the Philippines, and then you say, oh, of course they're going to accept you. It's for the money. Yes, it's for the money. The same reason you want a man for the money, no different. The difference is that he knows it's for the money, but he's also getting something in return for what she's getting. She's getting the money, she's getting the support, she's getting her bills paid, her rent, her internet, her cell phone, her children's college, and in turn, he's getting the cookies, he's getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner, home cooked. He's getting a woman who's always at home with him, who's always willing to hold his hand when they're walking down the street, who spends all her time with this man. And it's funny that American women think that that's not what men want. That the only thing that men want is to sit at home playing video games, and they don't want to be with a woman who wants to be there with them. American men don't want to be with the majority of American women because you women are a burden. You make it impossible for a man to want to be around you. That's the difference. Because the very same men who don't want to be around you back home in the US, when they're in the Philippines, they want to be around their girlfriends. See, the women here know how to be women. They know how to leave a man alone. They know their business. They know they got things to do. They know they got things to do. And they know that if they got a man who takes care of them, then they're going to leave that man alone. They're going to give him space. They're going to give him peace of mind. They're going to allow that. And you women back home are nothing but a burden. Listen, I can count the amount of women that I've been with, both my hands, both my feet, both your hands and both your feet, and still not have found one woman that was worth my time. And I'm not going to include my ex-wife in that, the mother of my children, because I don't compare her to anybody, because she will always be number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so when I talk about women in the US, she's not included in this because she's a real woman. And whatever happened between me and her had nothing to do with her, but everything to do with me. Because we were young back then. I was a boy and I had issues. And when you're crazy, you don't know you're crazy. But I'm not talking about 19, 18-year-old boys. I'm talking about grown women with grown men who don't know how to act. Women who don't know how to be women. Who think that making her man a sandwich is beneath her. While here in the Philippines, men are having a full home-cooked meal made for them. Because here they don't make sandwiches for dinner. That's something I want. They don't make sandwiches here for dinner. They don't even eat cereal or drink milk here or eat cheese. All of these things are very seldom eaten. They eat real food. And the problem with American women is that they forgot how to be women. They have forgotten how to be ladies. The only thing that makes them a woman is what they have between their legs. Everything else they want to compare to a man. They work just like a man. They take care of their children just like a man, because I raised my children by myself, alone, just like my ex-wife raised our children by herself, alone. She did it for a time, most of the time, and I did it for a time, a shorter time than she did. But my youngest, I raised full-time most of the time. And she just hit 23, and when she hit 23 and had a baby of her own and now has a family, I decided to leave the US and come to the Philippines. A country that I visited before, and every woman that I've gotten with here knows how to have class. You can feel proud to be seen with her. And she is always proud to be seen with you. That's how Filipino women are. And I'm not exaggerating. And so you have women, American women, hating on Filipino women because American men, good men, are leaving the US. Passport bros is what they call us. Are coming to the Philippines and getting with women who are ready, willing, and able to treat us like men, to be our wives, to be our children's mothers, to be the head of household, because the woman is the head of household. The man is the head of the woman, and the woman takes care of the home. So I've always believed that the head of household is the woman. I cannot stand when I hear women, especially back home in the US. I'm a single parent. I'm a single parent as if though that's something to be proud of. You need to be quiet and not tell everybody that you went and spread your legs with a guy you met and only knew for 3 months, had a baby, and now you're a single parent. Because every mother in the US is a single parent. That's not something to brag about. That's nothing special. My mother was a single parent. All of the parents that I knew growing up were single parents. Every single mother I know is a single parent. But for some reason, American women think that's something special and something to brag about. Them especially, because it's not like they became a single parent because they were married and their husband left. They became a single parent because they like to spread their legs. And if you don't like what I'm saying, I'm sorry. They like to spread their legs, have children out of wedlock. And because there's an abortion clinic across the street, they can always get an abortion if they want to. And if they want to keep the kid, they keep it because they know the welfare is going to pay them to have children out of wedlock. And they know that the reason why they don't need a man is because they need the government. You see, if the government wasn't there to give them food stamps, to give them WIC, to give them cash, to give them medical, and then they wouldn't be doing what they do back home. And this is why American women say they don't need men. They only need men when they need a baby, when they want a baby. And this is why the majority of women are single parents. That's not something I would say, women, ladies. I'd be embarrassed to say that. I keep it to myself. Because there's nothing special about you being a single parent. Nothing. I was a single parent also. And when people ask me, oh, how's your daughter? I don't say, oh, I'm a single dad. I'm a single parent. I just say, oh, my daughter's okay. My daughter's good. Oh, you got children? Yeah, I got a daughter. Yeah, I got 4 daughters. Yeah, I'm raising my daughter. I don't say I'm a single parent. As if though that's something to brag about. That you can't hold a relationship. You don't ask yourself that question, ladies back home in the US. You don't ask yourself, why is it that 8 out of 10 women in the US are single parents? Because you had a child out of wedlock. Because you had a child with a man that you had no business having a baby with. And then when he's not there, you start crying. Oh, he left. It's his fault. It's your fault. He knocked on the door. You opened it and you let him in. You let him in. And now you want to blame him for not being there. He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to raise children with you. He didn't want to have children with you. He just wanted to get off. You allowed it. Now you got pregnant. Now you're a single mother. And if I were you, I wouldn't say it like that. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed. Because you went and had a baby with someone you had no business having a baby with. Next time, get married. Next time, have a baby with the man you were with for at least 3 or 5 years. Then you can cry if he leaves. But if you're having sex, in 1 year, you've been with 5 or 10 different men, and then you get pregnant, and then you cry about it, and you complain about it, you need to shut the hell up, lady. You need to shut up. And you need not brag that you're a single parent. Because that's the stigma that you women in the US hold. You're all single parents. You want to know why? I'm going to use a word you don't like. Because the majority of American women are hoes. Yes. They're hoes. Listen. Filipino women get married. That's not to say that they don't have children out of wedlock. That's not to say that Europeans don't have children out of wedlock. That Somalians, Africans, Japanese, Chinese, it happens everywhere. But there's a difference between a culture that teaches the woman that she can be a hoe, that she can have as much sex as a man because she's equal to a man, that she can do what a man does, And then when the man has sex with her and leaves because she's not worthy of his time and attention, because a man only wants a woman that's worthy of his time and attention. You see, there are two types of women: the women we marry and the women we don't. Just because we sleep with you, just because we have sex with you, doesn't mean we want you. We're having sex with you because you're giving it to us. See the difference? You give it to the man, he takes it, you get pregnant, and then you blame him when it's your fault. I have 4 daughters. If they get pregnant and do the same, it's their fault. It's nobody else's fault. It's your fault. And so, Filipino women, there's a huge difference. There's a huge gap between the American woman and the Filipino woman. A huge gap. You cannot compare them. You can't compare them. They're feminine. Filipino women, when you walk down the street, you see them in dresses. A lot of them. In skirts. A lot of them. You see them cleaning. It's so attractive. It's so sexy. You see them in the kitchen, sweating over a stove, looking all fine with their little shorts or their little skirts and the sweat coming down their chest or their back, and you walk up behind them and you just put your arm around them and they look up to you and smile and give you a kiss. It's sexy. It is attractive. There's nothing unattractive about a woman who sits at home doing nothing. Nothing. We don't need you, ladies. You think you don't need men? We don't need you. I've lived by myself for a very long time. The only time I didn't live by myself was when I was married. And I needed my wife. I need her still. But because I was alone and have been alone while I was in the US, I didn't need a woman. I can sew, I can knit, I can iron, I do my own laundry, I cook, I clean. Ask my daughter, who I raised. I did all of that for us while taking my daughter to school every morning and then going to work. And then picking her up before I drove her to school, to college. And after she got out of school in college, I picked her up to drive her home to go back to work. See, the problem with American women is they don't like being mothers. This is why it's so hard for them. Because it wasn't hard for me to raise my daughter by myself. It wasn't hard at all. You know why it wasn't hard? Because I enjoyed it. Because I took pride in it. Because it made me feel good. It kept me grounded. And American women want to have children out of wedlock and then bitch about it and then complain about it, how hard it is. It's hard because you had no business having a baby. You had no business having a baby because you didn't want to be a mother. If I don't want to be a father, I'm not going to have sex, unprotected sex with a woman, and then come inside her. I'm not going to do that unless I intend to be responsible for that baby. And unfortunately, because the majority of American women are, the word you're not going to like me saying, but I'm going to say it, are hoes, they have children out of wedlock because these men have no respect for them. This is why men come inside women, even though they may get them pregnant, but they don't care because they have no intentions of seeing you again. No intentions. This is why the majority of American women are single mothers. And the majority of Filipino women who are single mothers aren't single mothers because of that. They're single mothers because the husband left. And again, that's not to say that they all get married, because it happens everywhere. But there's a big unbalance. This is America. This is the weight of the American women who are husbandless with 3 or 4 children from 3 or 4 different men compared to Filipino women. You guys tip the scale. And so you can't compare a Filipino woman who is an actual woman, who's feminine. And when I say feminine, I don't mean that she wears a dress all the time or a skirt all the time and is very petite and sensual in that way. Yes, that has a lot to do with it. But I mean feminine in the sense that they know how to play their part. Just like the man has a role to play, the Filipino woman knows that and they play their role. They cook for him, they clean for him, they do his laundry. They ensure that his papers are in order, that he takes his medication, that he goes to immigration, she fills out the paperwork for him. This is a common theme here in the Philippines. Just ask any Filipino man. Are there scumbags here in the Philippines? Yes. Are there scammers here in the Philippines? Yes. Just like they are everywhere. But I'm comparing women to women, not scammers to scammers. That's not the subject here. And an American woman, this is what an American woman is. Independent, unmarried, with 3 or 4 children from 3 or 4 different men, who don't cook, who don't clean, who want a man who's rich, but doesn't want to be a woman to him and cook for him and do anything for him. Compared to a Filipino woman who may not be rich, may have a college degree or may not have one, may work or may not work, who when she meets an American or a foreigner, knows how to cook for him, clean for him, take care of him, be there for him, knowing that he's going to do in turn for her the same thing she does for him. Because it's a give and take. And so yeah, for those American women who believe that the only reason that these Filipinas are doing these things for us is for the money, I agree with you. Filipino women are good to their men who are foreigners because of the money. The very same reason and the very same thing you're looking for in a man. The difference is that they're willing to trade our time, our money for their classiness. Unlike you, who have no class the majority of the times. Because you want a man for the money. This is why you don't want a plumber. You want a man for the money, but you don't want to be a woman to him. So yeah, I'm here to give my Filipino woman everything she needs to ensure that her children will have everything they need when I'm no longer here. Because if I could pass it down to my children, I would. But of course, in the Philippines, we cannot own land. And so everything that I do, I'm doing for her future and her children's future. Why? Because in the present, she cooks for me, she cleans for me, she irons for me, she does my laundry, she takes me to immigration every month and makes sure my paperwork is filled out. We spend time together. Hell, sometimes I wish I had a break just so that I can be alone sometimes. But the fact that she's here and that I know she's here brings comfort to me. I know that when she leaves, she's coming back the same day. She's not out at the club with her friends picking up guys, coming back the next day, and she doesn't have to tell me anything because she's an independent woman. If you're so independent, pay your own bills, pay your own rent, take care of your own kids and leave us alone. And let us do for women what women are willing to do for us. And that's take care of each other. So that's the difference between a Filipino woman and an American woman. And so to these men out there back home in the US, if you're tired of being mistreated, if you want the same thing a woman wants, which is love, respect, attention, someone to spend time with, someone to share good moments with, Come to the Philippines. Find yourself a woman who's willing to do that for you, who's willing to take, but is also willing to give. Come to the Philippines, guys, and you see exactly what it is I'm talking about.